Hey, what's up? Zach here. And this year's Ultimate Basketball Shoe Buyer's Guide is going to have a few tweaks that have been requested in the comments section of the previous Basketball Shoe Buyer's Guide. Now, yes, this video is still going to have the best shoes in each category. And say you're somebody that it's a point guard who has a wide foot, maybe some heel pain, and yes, you can find this shoe that shows up in each category, and usually that's going to be my favorite one for that specific player. However, in this version of the Basketball Shoe Guide, I'm also going to put my favorite shoe in each category. And the bottom it'll say my favorite, and then that's the shoe that I like the most in each category. Now yes, the same shoe is probably going to show up a few times, but that should give you a good idea of what shoes that I find are the best for each category. And I also have my always updating digital download Ultimate Basketball Shoe Guide that has all the shoes broken down in alphabetical as well as universal rating system order with all their stats like heel height, heel to toe drop, and weight. That is available for purchase as a digital download below. With all that being said, let's get to the first category, which is foot shape. Now if you're somebody with a wider foot, obviously you're going to need a shoe with a little bit more of a bulbous forefoot as well as sometimes midfoot. Anything really in the New Balance category or a lot of the Way of Wade shoes like the Fission 8 or Way of Wade 10, as well as a lot of the Adidas shoes like the Adidas Adizero Selects are going to be good choices for that. But conversely, if you're somebody with a narrow foot, you obviously don't want a shoe that's too wide that you're going to be sliding around too much in to introduce instability or just introduce bloody toenails to. And for that, one of my favorite shoes this year has been the Anta GH4 with that really nice lacing system. But if you're somebody that runs pretty much in the middle, kind of more of a true sized foot, really anything in the Puma category like the MB2 or the Rise Nitro fits a medium foot pretty well, as well as does the Way of Wade Sun and Flash. Now if you're somebody with a very high arch, you're going to want something with a little bit more of a stack of foam under you, something a little bit more forgiving so when you're coming down, the ball of your foot isn't busting through the shoe. Something like the Anta KT8 or really anything with Zoom Air in the forefoot. And really shoes for higher arched and flat arched players are kind of two sides of the same coin. You still want a shoe with a pretty dense midsole foam, something that's not going to allow you to pronate all the way through the shoe. So really the same shoes for high arch players, a lot of times I like for flatter arch players as well. But if you're someone that uses an orthotic to accommodate that high or flat arch or even a brace, you're going to want something with a pretty stout lockdown, something like the AG3, the Harden Volume 7, or the Adidas Adizero Select. All right, and that brings us to the second category, game style and positions. Now if you're somebody playing center, you're going to need a shoe with a combination of really good balance, really strong support, as well as something that's going to keep your feet feeling pretty fresh in the paint. Something like the Jordan Zion 2, the CJ1, or the Adizero Select. Conversely, if you're something that's a really shifty guard and need a shoe for really quick, fast footwork, you're going to want a shoe that number one just gets out of your way, number two has some pretty nimble grip and footwork. Something like the Jordan 37, Curry Flow 10, or even like the Way of Wade 808 Ultra V2. And if you're more of a power forward and need a shoe that's going to be able to go coast to coast or drive into the lane, you're going to want a shoe that's pretty streamlined but also pretty stout, something like the AG3 or the Way of Wade Fission 8. But if the only thing you care about in your shoes is being the bounciest shoe available, you're going to want something with either a pretty long shank or a lot of nitrogen, gas, or something that's holding up the foam in your shoe. Something like the Curry Flow 10, the Jordan 37 Low, or something like the Puma Rise Nitro. If you're a basketball player that wants something for stability, containment, and balance, you're going to want something like the Nike LeBron Next Gen, LeBron 20, or once again Adidas Adizero Select, or Jordan Zion 2. But if you're someone that just wants the shoe to give you the easiest speed off the blocks, you're going to want something a little bit more streamlined like the Anta GH4, the Way of Wade Fission 8. And if you want a more durable basketball shoe, say you're using it mostly for outdoor play or just someone that is really hard on your shoes, produces a lot of heat and friction, you're gonna want something, number one, anything really in the Nike EP or Jordan PF family, or most Adidas shoes are gonna be pretty stout underneath of your foot, or once again, something like the Way of Wade 10. And on the flip side of that, if you're someone that uses your shoe on hardwood or just doesn't really care about durability and just wants something for a little bit more shifty, nimble play, you want something like the JB1 from Li Ning or something like the Curry Flow 10. But right in the middle of those two categories, if you want one shoe for both indoor and outdoor play, that shoe that I've found so far for that has been the Way of Wade Fission 8. And if you're an outdoor basketball player that likes to wear tennis shoes for their a little bit better durability profile as well as side-to-side speed profile, once again, the best shoes for this, New Balance Coco CG1, but also the Adidas Cybersonic. And that brings us to the third category, injuries, body type, and chronic conditions. And heads up, if you are someone that is chronically injured and is trying to get back to the court and just haven't been able to get a good straight answer to specific issues you have in our kind of very specific world of court sports, make sure you click my links in the description below for one-on-one consulting. If you just need someone that kind of understands your specific problems, I am offering that down below. Now, if you're someone that suffers from heel pain, say it's Achilles tendonitis, plantar fasciitis, bursitis, or some combination of all those, because I know a lot of you out there have that, You're gonna want something that, number one, gives a lot of forgiveness to the heel, but also doesn't allow a lot of micro motion. Now, it really depends on where exactly the pain is versus what shoe is best for that. But suffice it to say, anything under the bottom of your foot, anything with like ETPU or boom foam, or especially boost, like in the Adidas Harden Volume 7, is a good pickup. And if you're someone that's a chronic ankle sprainer, you're gonna want a shoe with, number one, good lockdown, and number two, a decent lateral flange. Remember, a mid-top or high-top shoe is not gonna stop an ankle sprain. It's just gonna give you a little bit of better biofeedback. Some of my favorite shoes recently for ankle spraining have been, number one, the Adidas Adizero Select, number two, the Way of Wade Fission 8, as well as the Way of Wade 10. Now, if you're somebody with very painful flat foot or tendinitis, both on the medial or lateral side of your foot, you're gonna want a shoe that's gonna stop a lot of that overpronation or a lot of that oversupination. The shoes are kind of the same. Something like the Jordan 37, Adidas Harden Volume 7, or once again, Jordan Zion 2. And if you're somebody that has ball of foot pain, number one, you don't want a shoe that's gonna constrict it too much, but also you're gonna want a shoe that either offloads it from the midfoot or just has a very forgiving forefoot. Something like the New Balance Fresh Foam BB, or my favorite, the Anta KT8. And if you're a basketball player that suffers from shin splints, you're gonna want a shoe kind of in the same category as the overpronation, painful flat foot or tendinitis category, but just something that's not super heavy that your anterior tibial tendon doesn't have to keep yanking up off the ground. But if you're someone that has pain even further up the chain, like patellar tendinitis, knee pain, hip pain, back pain, you're also gonna want something with a lot of dense cushion in there, something that's gonna take up a lot of shock. Anything with really dense foam, like the Way of Wade 10. Once again, Anta KT8, or an out-of-the-box pick would be the Curry Flow 10. And if you're a player on the heavier side, obviously you don't want a super light and feathery shoe that you're just gonna bust right through. Something like the CJ1, the AG3, the Adidas Adizero Select are gonna be great picks, versus if you're a lighter weight player, you don't wanna have to be lugging around a super heavy shoe. Something like the Nike Precision 6 or the Way of Wade 808 Ultra 2 V2, I think I said that right, are gonna be a good pick as well. And of course, we'll have links in the description below to where you can buy any of these shoes, as well as if you have any ideas for other categories that you would like to see in these Ultimate Basketball Shoe Buyer's Guide videos, leave me a comment down below and maybe I can get one in the next video. All right, respect your rubber and foam. See you in the next one.